This stitch is handy to learn if you need to do a 1 stitch decrease at the beginning of a row and you don't want a big gap from starting it with turning chains and then trying to decrease. It's a blend of starting treble crochet and a treble 2 together, or in US terminology is starting double crochet and a double 2 together. And here's how to create that, starting treble 2 together. Pull the loop up on your hook just a little to give you some extra yarn and place your hook through that first stitch. Yarn around hook and pull up a loop. You should have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn around hook and pull through both loops. That's basically a starting double crochet, starting single in the US. It's a slightly extended double crochet, single crochet US. That's what it is. And if you look at the anatomy of this stitch, here's the top of it, which you are absolutely going to ignore. Instead, look at the front of the fabric. There is a V. The left leg will be very obvious and prominent, and the right leg will be slightly hidden. And what you want to do is put your hook through the left leg of that V. Then yarn around hook and pull up a loop, so that you have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn around hook and pull through 1 loop. You still have 2 loops remaining. Now you're going to move on to the second stitch to create the decrease, and that's done by doing a yarn around hook, and then you place your hook through the next stitch underneath the front and back loops. Yarn around hook and pull up a loop, and that gives you 4 loops on your hook. Yarn around hook and pull through 2 loops, leaving you with 3 loops on your hook. Yarn around hook and pull through all 3. There's the top of the stitch that you will work into when you do a return pass on the next row, but you can see that you've got really neat decrease there and you don't have a massive gap. And you can work your decrease into the side of your fabric with this stitch. It's particularly good for shawls and if you've got blanket shaping, because if you had a border, you've got all of this to crochet into at the side. I'll show you how to do that again. So I'm just pulling up the yarn a little. The hook is going through the first stitch, yarn around hook and pull up a loop. I've got 2 loops on my hook. Yarn around hook and pull through both. I'm now going to ignore the stitch at the top of my stitch. I'm placing the hook into the left leg of that double crochet, single crochet US on the front of the work. Yarn around hook and pull up a loop, then yarn around hook and pull through 1, which leaves me with 2 loops on my hook. Yarn around hook and place the hook through the next stitch. Yarn around hook and pull up a loop. Now I have 4 loops on my hook. Yarn around hook and pull through 2. I have 3 loops on my hook. Yarn around hook and pull through 3. So 1, 2, 3. And that finishes the starting treble 2 together. That's the stitch that I'll be working back into, but you can see how these 2 stitches, 1 and 2, have now been combined into 1 stitch. That's the decrease.